An American reporter is caught in the crossfire between Russia and Georgia. He's Winston Featherly Bean, shot when fighting broke out in the breakaway province of Ossetia. He is now recovering in a Russian hospital. 2 other reporters were killed. Joining us now on the phone from Alaska, Winston's brother, Peter Featherly Bean. Our Amy Kellogg is also with us. She spoke with Winston. She joins us live from Beslan, Russia. How is he doing, Amy?
Hi, John. Hi, Peter. Well, Winston is doing okay. I'm not a doctor. He's in a lot of pain right now. It's his ankle that was hit with gunfire. I was shot in the ankle very badly in the joint. He's wincing quite a lot. So he was in a lot of discomfort, but he was incredibly lucid, which I found to be quite uplifting, incredibly warm, very happy to see us. He was in a ward when we saw him here in Vladikavkaz, which is North Ossetia, with several other people in it. It was a bit chaotic, and he didn't exactly know even which hospital he was in. So he was a bit groggy from anesthesia because he'd had this surgery in the morning, but he was incredibly with it on the ball, remembered what had happened to him, and was very curious to know what was going on in terms of the war, what Barack Obama had said about the war, what John McCain had said about the war, what Saakashvili situation was. So this is clearly someone who was very, very alert and yet obviously in pain, and we understand, and Peter probably knows this as well, that he's now in Moscow where he will be getting some better medical treatment, we presume. John?
Peter, your brother, 22 years old. He was a freelance reporter working for a small English language newspaper in Georgia. And I guess he actually was shot by Georgian troops as he and the others in that vehicle approached a roadblock, huh?
Yes, we're not quite clear what happened, but we do know that it was a group of militia who shot Winston and the others. But we also know that the people who shot him also took them to a Russian medical center for treatment. And so we're grateful for them for that.
Yeah,
but that's all we'll know for now until Winston will have a chance to speak more on it.
And it's my understanding that one of the people who shot him actually visited him in the hospital?
Yes, that's what I've heard. I don't know what they spoke about, but I do know that there was a visit.
I know that your mother really tracked him down. There is no obstacle to a mother's love, and she really went to the mat to be able to get in touch with him in that hospital, right?
Yes, she's barely slept in the past 4 days. She's been working hard to get in contact with him and just talking to so many people.
Now, it's kind of unusual, it would seem to me, for a 22-year-old guy to head to a place like Georgia to take a freelance newspaper assignment. Is he adventurous? What was he doing there?
Well, Winston's always been incredibly adept. He's been traveling the world for 4 years, and a year ago, he got to Georgia, and he just loved the land, he loved the people, he loved the culture, and he got a job at a newspaper there as an editor. And so when this war broke out, he was just in a position to cover it.
You must feel pretty good, I guess, having heard Amy's description of how he seems to be doing in the hospital. That must come as welcome news. Yes,
that's one of the latest updates that we have on his health, so I'm very grateful for that.
The fact that he's hospitalized in Moscow now, I guess a good sign. They, I'm sure, have better medical care there than they would have in some of the smaller Russian cities. Do you know what happens to him next? Have there been any arrangements to medevac him to maybe a hospital in Germany or someplace like that?
We do know that he needs to get some proper papers from the Russian government before he can leave the country. We'd like to get him to Europe, yeah, and some better medical care, maybe some specialists, but we don't know exactly where we can go from here. Quick question for you, Amy Kellogg. Did he express any interests about his future? I mean, what does he want to do next? Did he say?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, John, because there was a sense of humor there through all of this, and I felt so badly for him. I think all of us in the room did, the crew I was with, because it could have been any of us who'd fallen into that situation. And he said I was stupid, and we said, you know, no, Winston, you were doing what journalists do. They go where the story is. But I said, are you going to continue reporting? And he said, I'm going to be an economics reporter next. He said, I'm done with the war reporting. This is it. I think there's another field for me. But an incredibly intelligent young man, incredibly well-versed in the issues and the subtleties of this conflict, which he was even concerned as being portrayed really as a black and white situation when it is so complex. So a very impressive young man, I have to say.
Amy Kellogg, along with Peter Featherly Bean, the brother of Winston, who is hospitalized. We thank you both, and we wish Winston well.
Thank you.
To some business news now. A drop